Hello guys, welcome to the last video on pre-security learning part here on Tryhackme, and we're currently on the last module, Windows Fundamentals, and the last room, which is Windows Fundamentals 3 or part 3. We've covered the introduction to cybersecurity module. We've completed the network fundamentals module, and we've completed the how the web works module, and Linux fundamentals, and lastly the Windows fundamentals. And without further ado, let's jump onto the last room here, the Windows fundamentals part 3. Okay, over here I'm going to quickly just start the machine here and start the attack bus as well, and then let's quickly go through some reading while the machine loads. Okay, task 1, introduction. We will continue our journey exploring the Windows operating system. To summarize the previous two rooms, we saw in Windows Fundamentals 1, we covered the desktop, the file system, user account control, the control panel, settings, and the task manager. And then in Windows Fundamentals 2, we covered various utilities such as system configuration, computer management, resources monitor, etc. Now in this module, we will attempt to provide an overview of the security feature or security features within the Windows operating system. Now we're going to launch the virtual machine, the VM. If you wish to access the virtual machine via remote desktop, use the credentials below. We're going to use the Tryhackme virtual machine, and we're going to, if you're using the remote machine, you just accept the certificate when prompted, and you should be able to log into the remote system now when using these credentials. Note, the virtual machine may take up to 3 minutes to load. As you can see, it's currently loading. But other than that, now we'll read the above and start the virtual machine. We've done that and we'll complete that. Now we head on to task 2, Windows updates. Okay, Windows updates. Now let's start things off with Windows updates. Now, Windows Update is a service provided by Microsoft to provide security updates, feature enhancements, and patches for the Windows operating system and other Microsoft products such as Microsoft Defender. Now, updates are typically released on the second Tuesday of each month, and this day is called Patch Tuesday. That doesn't necessarily mean that a critical update or patch has to wait for the next Patch Tuesday to be released, of course. Now, if the update is urgent, then Microsoft will push the update via the Windows Update service to the Windows devices. Okay, now refer to the following link to see the Microsoft Security Update Guide. You can click here. Now, the Windows Update is located in Settings, see below. And another way to access Windows Update is from the Run dialog box or the command line. By running the command Control /name Microsoft.Windows Updates, and to take you right to this part. Okay, now in the attached VM, there are a few things to highlight. Okay, now let's go on. The first is the Windows Update settings are managed, and typically home users will not see this type of message. Okay, now there are no available updates. There are no available updates available for the virtual machine. Of course, now the attached virtual machine does not have the internet access to communicate with Microsoft to obtain new updates. Alright, so that's why we'll see something like this here. Now, throughout the years, Windows users have grown accustomed to pushing Windows updates off to a later date or not installing the updates at all. Various reasons caused this action, one being the fact that a reboot is typically required after a Windows update. Now, Microsoft notably addressed this issue with Windows 10. The updates can no longer be ignored or pushed to the side until forgotten. Now, Windows updates can only be postponed, but eventually the update will happen and your computer will reboot. Okay, so so Microsoft provides these updates to keep the device safe and secure. Below is an image showing how a restart required looks, and the several options available regarding scheduling the restart. Okay, restart required, your device will restart outside of the hours and so on. So you say restart now and schedule later, pause update for 7 days and so on. Now refer to the Windows updates FAQ for more information. Now there are two definitions updates installed in the attached virtual machine. Now, on what date were these updates installed? That's the question for task 2. And to do that, we're going to quickly we can either go to the settings and go to the Windows updates, or we could use the command line. There's a shortcut for it to run, Windows R, and it pops up the command line. So I'm going to use that command. I hope I can remember it off heart. Control space / name. Is it capital letter name? I don't know. Then we have Microsoft dot Windows updates. Let me try and see if that works. Let me just copy that first and see in case I need to type that again. Okay, I clicked on run and I guess I got it wrong. So let me go back up to that point and see. It says control / name Microsoft.Windows update. So I'm going to try that again, but this time Windows R to bring up the page, and then we have this. So control space / name Microsoft.Windows updates, not updates. So if I hit enter, it should be able to take me. So it was just the S I added. And let's go back to what question we're looking at. We're looking at definition updates. So we should go to Windows updates. Oh, no, I think we're already there. So view update history and definition updates. So the question is, on what date were these updates installed? Looks like they are the same date. So we have 5 of March, and that should be 2021. Hit enter, and that answers our question. Heading on to task 3 here. So task 3, Windows security. Now, per Microsoft, Windows security is your home to manage the tools that protect your device and your data. Now, in case you missed it, Windows security is also available in settings. Okay, all right. Now, in the above image, focus your attention on protection areas. Now, which is, as you can see, we have virus and threat protection. Now, firewall and network protection, app and browser control, device security, as you can see over here. If I go back here on the settings to Windows 8 update, let's go to Windows security. And on Windows security, you can see the protections areas. Okay, now each following task will briefly touch on those areas. Now, before proceeding, let's provide a quick comment on the status icon. Okay, now green means your device is sufficiently protected and there isn't any recommended action. Yellow means there is a safety recommendation for you to review, and red is a warning that something needs your immediate attention. Click on open Windows security. I think we've done that, and as you can see here, we have a red flag here, and it means we need actions needed. Okay, now note, since the attached virtual machine is a Windows Server 2019 edition, it looks different from the Windows 10 Home or Professional edition. Now the below image is from a Windows 10 device, so this is how it will look like. Now next, we'll look at virus and threat protection. And in the above image, which areas need immediate attention? As you can see, it's virus and threat protection. So I'm just going to copy this here to make our things easy. And Ctrl V, the first V, and remove this period and enter, and that's correct. So virus and threat protection. Next is task 4. So in task 4 here, we're treating virus and threat protection. Now, virus and threat protection is divided into 2 parts. Now, first is the current threats, and the second is virus and threat protection setting. Now, the image below only focuses on current threats. Okay. Now, current threats, scan options. Quick scan checks folders in your system where the threats are commonly found. Full scan checks all files and running programs on your hard disk. This scan could take longer than 1 hour. Custom scan, choose which files and locations you want to check. Now, threat history. Let me click here and see if that opens up. Okay, great. Let me see. Alright, scan options, threat history. Okay, threat history, last scan. Windows Defender antivirus automatically scans your device for viruses and other threats to help keep it safe. Quarantined threats. Quarantined threats have been isolated and prevented from running on your device. They will be periodically removed. Allowed threats. Allowed threats are items identified as threats which you allow to run on your device. Warning: allow an item to run that has been identified as a threat only if you are 100% sure of what you're doing. Okay. Next is virus and threat protection settings, which you can see here. Now, on this one, we have virus and threat protection settings. We have manage settings. Now, under the manage settings, we have real-time protection, locates and stops malware from installing or running on your device. Now, cloud delivered protection provides increased and faster protection with access to latest protection data in the cloud. Automatic sample submission, send sample files to Microsoft to help protect you and others from potential threats. Controlled folder access, protect files, folders, and memory areas on your device from unauthorized changes by unfriendly applications. Exclusions. Windows Defender antivirus won't scan items that you have excluded. Notifications. Windows Defender antivirus will send notifications with critical information about the health and security of your device. Warning: excluded items could contain threats that make your device vulnerable. Only use the option if you are 100% sure of what you're doing. Now, virus and threat protection updates, as you can see here. Controlled folder access. Now, ransomware protection requires this feature to be enabled, okay, which in turn requires real-time protection to be enabled. Note: real-time protection is turned off in the attached virtual machine to decrease the chances of performance issues. And since the virtual machine can't reach the internet and there aren't any threats in the virtual machine, this is safe to do. Now, real-time protection should definitely be enabled in your personal Windows devices, unless you have a third-party product that provides the same protection. Ensure it's always up to date and enabled. Now, tip: you have to perform on-demand scans on any file folder by right-clicking the items and selecting Scan with Microsoft Defender. Now, the below image was taken from another Windows device to show this feature. Scan with, when you right-click, you see Scan with Microsoft Defender. Now, let's answer the question below. Now, specifically, what is turned off that Windows is notifying you to turn on? Scroll here, we see here it's under the virus and threat protection settings. As you can see here, every other thing is green or not highlighted, but here it's showing you virus and threat protection, and we need to turn on the real-time protection. So real-time protection, that should be the answer, correct. And task 5. All right, task 5 here is firewall and network protection. Let me close this. Firewall. Oh, we're still under the firewall and network protection. Now, what is a firewall? Now, per Microsoft, traffic flows into and out of devices via what we call ports. Now, a firewall is what controls what is, and more importantly, isn't allowed to pass through those ports. Now, you can think of it like a security guard standing at the door, checking the ID of everything that tries to enter or exit. Now, the below image will reflect what you will see when you navigate to firewall and network protection. Now, note, each network may have different status icons for you. Okay, let me see, is it the same? Probably the same. I think they are all the same. Okay, now per Microsoft, let's for you. Okay, what is the difference between the three firewall: network protection, domain, private, and public? What's the difference? Okay, let's see. Per Microsoft, Windows Firewall offer 3 firewall profiles: domain, private, and public. Now, the domain profile applies to networks where the host system can authenticate to a domain controller. Now, the private profile is a user assigned profile and is used to designate private or home networks. Now, public, the default profile is the public profile used to designate public networks such as Wi-Fi hotspots at coffee shops, airports, and other locations. Now, if you click on any firewall profile, another screen will appear with 2 options: turn the firewall on or off and block all incoming connections. Let me see, domain network here, that's connected. You can turn it on. Yes. Okay. Right, now, warning: unless you are 100% confident in what you're doing, it's recommended that you leave your Windows Defender firewall enabled. Okay, like if I click on private network, you have the Windows Defender firewall is on. You can turn it off, but you have to know what you're doing. All right, now allow an app through firewall. Okay, now you can view what the current settings for any firewall profile are. In the above image, several apps have access in the private and or public firewall profile. Some of the apps will provide additional information if it's available via the details button. Okay. All right. Now, advanced settings. Now, configuring the Windows Defender firewall is for advanced Windows users. Refer to the following Microsoft documentation on best practices here. Tip: command to open the Windows Defender firewall is wf.msc, and although we're already there, so if you were connected to airport Wi-Fi, what most likely will be the active firewall profile. It's quite simple. That should be public profile. Enter. No, what's that? Let me see hints. What am I typing wrong? SXX networks. Okay, see, public network. All right, that's the answer. Public network. And task 6: app and browser control. App and browser control. So let me close this. In this section, that's the next for Windows security. In this section, you can change the settings for the Microsoft Defender smart screen. Now, per Microsoft Defender smart screen protection against phishing or malware websites and applications, and the downloading of potential malicious files. Now, refer to the official Microsoft document for more information on Microsoft Defender Smart Screen here. So if you click on that, it should be able to ask you if you want to block one or off. Now, check apps and files. Now, Windows Defender Smart Screen helps protect your device by checking for unrecognized apps and files from the web. Okay, now exploit protection. Exploit protection is built into Windows 10 and in our case Windows Server 2019 to help protect your device against attacks. Exploit protection, this is how it looks like. Warning: unless you're 100% confident in what you're doing, it is recommended that you leave the default settings. Read the above, completed, and we close this. Now, task 7: device security. Okay, now, which is the last here. So even though you will probably never change any of these settings, for completion's sake, it will be covered briefly. So the device security. Now, core isolation, memory integrity. Now, prevent attacks from inserting malicious code into high security processes. Memory integrity. Now, warning: unless you're 100% confident, of course, in what you're doing, it is recommended that you leave the default settings. Now, the below images are from another machine to show another security feature that should be available in a personal Windows 10 device. Security processor. Okay, that's the above here. Now, security processor. Below are the security processor details. Okay, so security processor. Okay, now what is trusted platform module, TPM? Per Microsoft, trusted platform module TPM technology is designed to provide hardware-based security-related functions. Now, a TPM chip is a secure crypto processor that is designed to carry out cryptography operations. Now, the chip includes multiple physical security mechanisms to make it tamper-resistant, and malicious software is unable to tamper with the security functions of the TPM. What is the TPM? So we have trusted platform, module. Hope it's not case sensitive. I just typed it anyhow. Yes, and that's it. Okay, now what is BitLocker? Okay, what is BitLocker? Now, per Microsoft, BitLocker drive encryption is a data protection feature, all right, and that integrates with the operating system and addresses the threats of data theft or exposure from lost, stolen, or inappropriately decommissioned computers. Okay, now on devices with TPM installed, BitLocker offers the best protection. Per Microsoft, BitLocker provides the most protection when used with a trusted platform module, TPM, version 1.2 or later. Now, the TPM is a hardware component installed in many newer computers by the computer manufacturers. Okay, now it works with BitLocker to help protect user data and to ensure that a computer has not been tampered with while the system was offline. Now, refer to the official Microsoft documentations to learn more about the BitLocker here. Note, the BitLocker feature is not included in the attached VM, which is the virtual machine. Okay, great. Now, answering the question below, what must a user insert on computers that do not have a TPM version 1.2 or later? I think that requires us to check this official Microsoft documentation, because of this recording I might quickly just check it and then just type the answer. All right, so I just checked and it's the USB starter key. It's called the startup key. That's the name. And what was the hint previously? Refer to Microsoft documentation. So what you need to install, what you must be installed when you don't have the TPM version is the USB startup key. Okay. Now, without further ado, task 9, volume shadow copy device. Per Microsoft, the volume shadow copy device VSS coordinates the required action to create a consistent shadow copy, also known as a snapshot or a point-in-time copy of the data that is to be backed up. Okay, now volume shadow copies are stored in the system volume information folder on each drive that has protection enabled. Now, if VSS is enabled, which is the system protection turned on, now you can perform the following tasks from within advanced system settings. Now, you can create a restore point, perform system restore, configure restore settings, delete restore points. Now, from a security perspective, malware writers know of this Windows feature and write code in their malware to look for these files and delete them. Now, doing so makes it impossible to recover from a ransomware attack unless you have an offline or off-site backup. Now, if you wish to configure shadow copies with the attached virtual machine, see below. So if you open, let's see if I can quickly do that. And let me just go to folders, right? Close this. Right click, new, no. Let's just go to computer. Let me just go to file explorer. Okay. So I'll actually just skip that, but let's just go to the PC and here right click and we'll go to what? Configure shadow copies. Okay, I see. Now configure shadow copies and you'll be able to enable it. Bonus, if you wish to interact hands on with VSS, I suggest exploring day 23 of Advent of Cyber. As you can see here, you can enable it or disable it. Right click enable here to enable it. Okay, now what is VSS to? Okay, VSS is, like we've seen here, the volume shadow copy service. Volume shadow copy service. Volume shadow copy service. Okay, and that answers that. Close this, and that's the last task we're going into. Task 10. Now in this room we covered several built-in Windows security tools that ship with the Windows OS to help keep the device protected. Now there is still so much to explain and cover regarding the Windows OS. As mentioned in the Windows Fundamentals 1 room, the content is aimed at those who wish to understand and use the Windows OS on a more comfortable level. Now, to learn more about the Windows OS, you will need to continue the journey on your own, further reading materials like Anti-Malware Scan Interface, Credential Guard, Windows 10 Hello, CSO Online, the best new Windows 10 security features. Now, note, attackers use built-in Windows tools and utilities in an attempt to go undetected with the victim environment. Now, this tactic is known as living off the land. Refer to the following resource here to learn more about this. Now, answer the last question here, the question below, read the above. We've done that, completed. And guys, that's the end of the room for Windows Fundamentals Part 3. And the last room here on pre-security learning part. So we just concluded the pre-security learning part, and of course I've been dropping the video from the first lesson of the room on the pre-security part, just to make the foundation strong for me here while I dive into the world of cybersecurity. Now, thank you for learning with me, thank you for studying with me, and do have a lovely day. Ciao.